Welcome to Opinions Like A-Holes, everybody, your favorite pop culture podcast where we have opinions and most of them stink. My name is Michael Zampino. With me, as always, is Hilton Price.
Tried a new coffee place today and a new drink. I went...
Tried a new coffee.
Got a little matcha tea.
How'd you like it?
It was good. It was it's a little lower caffeine than I'm used to.
So you go to a coffee place and you get tea.
Yeah, well, I mean...
It's an interesting choice.
It was on the menu, and I don't have any matcha at home, so...
You're not a matcha man?
So I said, do we got any matcha? And they said,
I've
matcha.
got to be a matcha man. To be a matcha man.
Okay.
Man.
That's enough of that.
I've got to be a matcha.
That's the singing in the first 2 minutes is off-putting. You got to work up to the singing.
It just tells you what frame of mind I'm in for today.
Clearly.
Which usually means that I'm more high energy.
You have had coffee and not matcha tea.
I didn't have coffee today. I didn't have regular coffee. I just had my artificial.
You've got
my dirt bike coffee.
Yeah.
Dirt bag coffee. My Monster Energy drink.
Got it.
Sugar free at least, because I'm trying to get the beaties.
Yeah. You know who's making a much healthier choice than us with the seltzer as our guest this week?
The seltzer water. Mr. Dustin Howard, everybody. Last week we had the director of the video Blood in the Water. Today we have the mind behind the music and the song itself. And I'm sure most of the video ideas as well. I know that was it was a collab, right?
Yeah. Honestly, Viet is responsible for a lot of the visual aspects. I just kind of laid out like, hey, here's what the song's about. Here's what we're kind of trying to paint a picture. And, also we understand that a lot of people are not like getting, you can see on the metrics, they're like, man, I can't do this. It's like 7 minutes,
Yeah.
So we got a shorter version and then like a little schedule that we're going to kind of try to.
We covered the one with the intro for sure.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, and I kind of like it too because it kind of harkens back to some of the music videos that I remember loving as a kid growing up in the music video age, where there was the song, and then sometimes there was kind of an extended version that had a little bit of either a narrative or a thematic idea,
a vignette, if you will.
Yeah, and so watching that and especially. I didn't quite know I didn't realize what it was as we started it. So at first I'm just like, oh, this is a little badass instrumental track. And then, the song really kicks in and I'm like, oh no, this is exactly the kind of shit that made me love music videos growing up.
That's awesome.
So that was a really neat experience.
Is fantastic.
Oh, the song's awesome.
Thank you very much.
I was when we had Viet on, I was talking about how I sort of hate having to, and always have hated to attempt to shove any sort of music into a subgenre in order to describe it to someone, when someone's like, well, what kind of music is it? And then you have to go, oh, well, it's kind of alternative. It's kind of, this, that, the other thing. But yeah, it gave me a lot of nostalgia for what I loved about like stoner rock and grunge.
Hey man, that makes me really happy.
Okay, cool. Because like the guitar tones, the riffs themselves, very like put me in a nostalgic place while still feeling very unique and new.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I'm a big fan of I won't even really name the bands, but it's kind of apparent. Well, sure, I will. I grew up listening to Queens of the Stone Age, that kind of stuff.
Caius even?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Getting that sort of obscure CD from your friend back before the internet. You don't really know what it is when you're just kind of like blown away by the first like 30 seconds. And here you are, 2 decades later, and it's molded. What I think is air quotation mark cool. But I think with the Groucho music, I'm not sure if you had a chance to do a dive in it or anything, but I am extremely eclectic. Like if I hit shuffle on my Spotify.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, it's Lamb of God all the way to the Ink Spots and just whatever. But a lot of the Groucho stuff, it stays in a kind of theme of rock and roll, I guess. But we've got some really soft ambient like psychedelic stuff, and I would say check it out. It's not for everybody, but I've been doing it so long that I don't care. I'm not worried about whether or not it's like good or bad. There's 8 billion people on the planet,
and the music industry is a fickle bitch too, and that's another thing that musicians are trying to navigate is that sort of push and pull between what you want to make for yourself versus what may or may not quote sell. what may or may not be considered. And the other part that sucks, and we bitched about this a little bit last week, is that a lot of times a good chunk of the general public doesn't even really know if they would like that shit because they're not getting access to it,
they're
because
watching The Voice.
They're getting, they're being given, a very short list of choices of like, this is what's out there. What do you think is cool?
Well, and
it's like, there's a lot more out there.
And we're so splintered right now in how we consume media. The social media apps, the different types of news, the different sources of TV and radio. There's just so much. And so much of it, especially online, is designed to further propagate what you're already into, the algorithm. Mm-hmm. So if you're listening to something, if you set up your TikTok listening to certain kinds of music and watching certain kinds of videos, that's all you're going to see.
Sure.
So if you don't happen to have something that's in the Groucho style, you may never see your stuff just naturally popping up.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, it's both a way that the apps are keeping us engaged on those apps, obviously, so that they can get more money through their advertising, but at the same time limiting us in what we experience.
What's interesting about, the very real, like the reality of what you're saying, that song is basically about that. It's basically about like division and, I don't really need to
created division too.
It's manufactured and it's done to keep people away from the reality of class, wage gap, that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to be a Rage Against the Machine kind of band, but
no, that's okay. We'll have you on Max News. That's my politics show. We'll talk about. We'll really dive.
I'll tell you what
there.
I really think. I'm happy to. But I try to make it sort of obscure and semi-apparent. I've had people who they listen to the music and they're like, "Oh, this song's about blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I mean, it is, but it's not.
Sure,
because I do it too.
Yeah, I mean, music's always been that way, where it's sort of like this is what I wrote it about, but you take it for what it means to you.
Sure,
and, unless that interpretation's really fucked up, and then I'll be like, that is not what I meant.
I would actually fear alt-right or QAnon folks getting a hold of some of those lyrics because it is, I guess you could interpret it however you want it to.
Yeah, sure. But that's always tough when you're like, man, this is riding a line where someone could be. It
is. Yeah. That song specifically, not a lot of our stuff is, but that song definitely is. Yeah.
But you can only do so much to fight that too, and there comes a point where once you create something and it's out there, you have to be ready for that. You may lose a certain amount of control over how it's used.
Well, sure, because they like to co-opt things that they know aren't for them too, like cops in the Punisher logo. Mm-hmm. Those motherfuckers know that ain't for them.
Exactly.
I don't think there's a lot of self-awareness. I would actually, I wouldn't say delighted, but I would be happy if some person from that community tried to engage me in a discussion so I could hopefully be a positive influence in that person. I mean, it's easy. It's very easy to just draw a line in the sand and be like, oh, I hate this and this, But Absolutely. I think it's difficult to try to have conversations with people who, I try to, you can be wrong for the right reasons. And
sure.
Oh,
that happens a lot.
And I think you see a lot of that too, because I don't, we'll stay away from politics, but I don't have a lot of faith in, these institutions that are clearly not serving the general population. It's not made for us. It's made, and so I understand how a person might have a strong opinion.
It's made for 50 old white dudes.
But they have a lot of times they have no empathy. They have no community. They're not trying to do anything or be of service to something. They're just trying to destroy.
Right.
And I think that's irresponsible. And
I actually talk a lot about the difference between what you're against and what you're for, because a lot of politics now is just what you're against.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like, well, what are you for?
Right.
And the things that you're demonizing other people for is the things that they're trying to give to you. Mm. You demonize me for thinking that you deserve health care. Yeah. That seems weird.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's important to keep the issues as political issues that you have opinions on, and not necessarily that these ideas are who you are. Especially lately, it's been so easy to just embrace an idea so strongly that becomes everything about your identity.
Oh, for sure. And
then it becomes,
I come close to falling into that too, because I
Sure.
came from that, like I was so into punk rock that it was everything about me. But I have enough self-awareness now to where I don't allow that.
You're very passionate about news, and then of course having family members who are currently kind of caught up in this culture war,
Being attacked?
Exactly. It's very easy to have to face that every day, and therefore kind of becomes part of who you are.
But
no,
I don't let it be my entire personality.
Exactly, and I don't
Because
think
I still like to laugh about goofy shit too.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like you still are very open about your interests and things you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Music, comedy, cannabis. There are things exactly. You've got a pretty healthy Funko Pop collection. If we want to get into your geek culture.
There's a lot.
Like that's like obviously I'm a very very outspoken leftist.
Sure.
But people, you talk about what's Hilton into, comics and video games are the kind of shit that comes up. I'm a big geek,
Oh, speaking of, so I just thought of when you said a lot of people are wrong for the right reasons.
Yeah.
That's a good way of describing how I feel about normal people that get into cults. Because 90% of them are built around
really generous.
The people that get into them, not the people that start them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The people that start them are straight fucking grifters and monsters.
Yeah.
But the people that get into them, most cults are built around some sort of self-help or something like that. Some sort of like building around, bettering yourself for humanity. So people go into it with good intentions that are then very much exploited.
I think that statement could be applied in a lot of places.
Absolutely.
I think that it's obviously a strange time to be alive.
Well,
and people are looking for a group. They're looking for, like you said, it's in our DNA. We're a tribal species, and a lot of these ideas I think propagate from being chronically online. Is one where you're engaged in this thing because I have a couple different sources of income, but one of them is a vending business, and so I find myself in these little bitty towns, and I hear some of the craziest shit you could imagine, and this person is like, this is their reality. But on a person to person level, this is not my enemy. This is, somebody's like uncle at Thanksgiving who's about to tell you how it really is with the government, and, but at the end of the day, their intentions, I try, I'm not a pious person, but I try not to judge anybody. And if I do, it's usually based on their intentions. There are unforgivable ideas and things that you can do that, I think it speaks a lot to your character. But for the most part, we don't have as much in a difference as opinion. Or let me rephrase that. We're not as different from each other as people have been fed. The narrative of divide and conquer is not new. And they want people mad at each other over, I hate to say it, but like arbitrary things. Yeah. Some of them are very important. Some of them we really need to talk about. But a lot of the things that people obsess over, they have a real strong opinion on this like one subject or whatever. And it doesn't matter, man. There's like 8 billion people on the planet. There's like space aliens. Like there's an infinite galaxy. And
I hope there are. I want to meet. I want to fucking hang out with the aliens.
Well, they're not.
You probably shouldn't get me started on that subject.
They're not coming around while we're caught in these culture wars.
No, we're too stupid for them.
They're like, it's strange that they don't just want to come on down and say hello.
Yeah. No, they know. They're
it's funny that something that looks different from us would want to stay away.
They're like, hey, have you seen those guys?
Yeah. Have you seen the way they treat anyone with the slightest difference?
Yeah, anything different?
Fuck them.
Yeah, xenophobia is not going to treat us very well. Okay, should we get into the goofy shit?
Yeah, we should.
Okay, we watched a couple of trailers. By the way, we'll get back into it in the plug section, but do go check out Groucho. It is on Spotify, the full 2016 album. Is that right?
We've got a
self-titled one.
We've got self-titled, and we've got an EP we put out in like 2020.
I was going to say though, that's only full length, but there's several singles, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have like a full length right now, but we're nobody's like waiting for it. We're just going to release it a little bit at a time.
Hell yeah.
It's just sort of a strategy, but it was
that's
recorded.
That's a new way of doing it too, I feel like bands are doing that kind of across the board right now. It's like you got the album done and you're like, here's a couple songs. Okay, here's the rest of the album.
Well, you need to, and then, so like you'll see a band, they'll release we will release the meat and potatoes, 3.5 minute version of it here in like a month or whatever. And then, we've got some retracking we have a song called Boll, which is literally about like aliens, It's called The Truth Is Out There is the short version. But anyways, we've got another version of that, alternate universe version. And I think our strategy is just to release stuff over and over again. I can see, metrics on my phone. And we got like 1,000 plays this week, which is a lot for a regional band.
Absolutely.
And then the week before, and you can, so if you just keep doing it, I'm sure it's like podcasts. People, it's
don't you love looking at analytics?
Yeah. No, it's kind of a motivation because
it can be, but it can also be fucking maddening whenever you like implement strategies and you see like just a plateau and you're like, God damn it.
That was me giving it my all.
You're like, how do you fucking crack this? God damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, then there's other times where you're like, you see that rise and you're like, fuck yeah, okay, here's results. This is
exactly.
great.
Occasionally you see those jumps and it shows that the work does pay off.
It shows that even though you don't talk to us, you're out there.
You just never get to stop working. Speaking of working or pretending to work, listen here. I liked this movie better when it was The Last Starfighter, but Gran Turismo.
If I was 16, I would probably be stoked on this because the idea of like
16-year-olds play Gran Turismo.
No, I meant the idea of like being able to play a game that would then get you a chance to do the thing in real life. Like if I was 16 and you were like, you could play NBA 2K good enough to be on the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'd be like, hell yeah.
To control like an avatar.
I'm going to throw up bricks when I'm on the Thunder because it does not translate.
Well, I've played a little VR recently for my first time the last couple of weeks, and it's funny how much confidence I have right now. I think I could just wield a gun and a knife and a zombie apocalypse.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like racing for a second.
No, I've been like shooting zombies in Resident Evil, and
you're like, I'm a tactical genius.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Don't fuck with me.
A lot of hubris going on.
I will clear a room so fucking fast.
Oh yeah, throw a knife at this zombie and hit him in the head.
No, I will say that like when it comes to modern like racing, especially if you have money, the racing games like it can be pretty similar to a full on like simulation of actual driving.
Well, that's kind of the plot. So this kid loves video games and he plays Gran Turismo.
He loves racing games.
And he has a setup
at home. He doesn't seem to play anything else.
No. Yeah, exactly. But he's got a racing wheel and the whole setup so that he can do like a simulation style.
It's like what do they call it? Like a haptic
feedback?
Like the chair moves and
stuff,
It's like on a semi-rounded bottom.
And he acts as though round bottom. He treats it like he's training to drive, and he is
for real.
He is mocked accurately as far as we're concerned. But then
accordingly and justly.
But then there is he learns of a contest where through playing Gran Turismo 7, you can win a chance to race for real.
In a real, probably $400,000 car.
Yeah. Orlando Bloom is the
where David Harbour tells you straight up you might die.
Yes, David Harbour is brought in to train them, to train the winners by Orlando Bloom, who has set up this contest.
Orlando Bloom was in this movie. I literally did not notice that.
I wondered if it was him. Like I saw the trailer.
I honestly, that's so funny to me that I watched that whole trailer and I had no fucking idea that Orlando Bloom was in this movie.
Yeah.
That's how forgettable this movie.
Well, there was no hobbits or
that's
pirates.
True. If he's not in a costume, if he's in street clothes, I have no idea it's Orlando Bloom.
Yeah. Nobody knows what he really looks like when he's not swashbuckling or adventuring.
Hi, I'm Orlando Bloom in street clothes. No, you're not.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
get out of here.
Yeah, you guys don't recognize him because of the mustache. No, I don't know. But yeah, I just this is a ridiculous concept. Orlando and David Harbour are probably going to be wasted. But then I saw something here that made it all make sense, and I don't know if you guys understand the importance of this.
Neil Blomkamp.
Neil Blomkamp.
Oh, Blomkamp.
I don't know if I'm saying it right. I don't give a fuck because he is the director that has ruined video game movies.
Oh wow, that's his thing, huh?
For years.
He did District 9.
Oh, did he not? I thought he was the guy that did.
He produced that?
No, I'm thinking of Uwe Boll.
Who's that?
Uwe Boll's the guy that did Blood Rain. He did like some of the lesser Resident Evil movies.
Oh.
He did a bunch of video game movies that are crap.
I've
is
thought
what
all
he's
the
done.
Resident Evil movies were bad. Though.
I think there's one good one.
I think it's funny that there was an incredible amount of rage directed at this person. It was for something that he
No,
didn't
totally,
You were
wrong.
real mad at him.
That's why this guy's a piece of
Yeah,
shit.
no. Who's Neil Blomkamp? Oh, District 9.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I thought Elysium was all right.
Was it? Because District 9, I'm still mad. I did not like District 9.
What?
No, I didn't like that. Or Chappie. Chappie was bad too.
Chappie was basically the same goddamn movie, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
except it had those the two awful people from that.
I don't like the way you did that with your fingers.
Sorry, it had what's the name of that shitty techno duo that? they-
Die Antwoord.
Yeah, Die Antwoord were in there.
Those,
yeah,
those two apparently are like real not good.
They
folks.
like kidnapped a kid or some shit.
No, they like adopt people like with developmental disorders to like put them in their videos.
Okay, yeah,
Fucked up.
Yeah, that's different. That's like much worse than I thought you were going to say.
No, it's not chill.
yeah,
Like,
no, yeah, they're not okay.
Yeah, I think they show up in District 9 if I remember. But
Do they? Okay.
yeah, but for what it's worth, I mean, we were joking about how
It's Peter Jackson.
humans
joint.
would react to like ET life, and I think District 9 is a decent representation. Of
I
what
liked
might
District
happen.
9. I remember.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't like any. Elysium was cool, because like
Yeah.
it just it was a cool concept.
I
think,
mean, I need to revisit it then because I thought I remembered liking it.
I don't.
But
I
also,
didn't see
I'm dumb.
Elysium.
it's like the ultra wealthy. They live in like a
Did not see
orbiting
Elysium.
little paradise, and then all the peons are down here on Earth scrounging around for the table scraps.
That makes sense because obviously District 9 was also very heavy on thematic allegory.
Class War.
Class war, exactly. I really wanted a cool alien story, and I didn't get that.
They never get alien movies right. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't. I was just a fool. I got to admit, because I was going in there wanting a Star Wars movie, and I was getting
I like that it's got his 3 commercial credits in here. They're like, let him know about the commercials I did.
We need
Put them
some
on my
content.
wiki.
Yeah.
Well, anybody can edit it, but he's like, yeah, but my wife did.
He's like, yeah, I'm not going to take it out. I'm not going to take it out. My wife wants everybody to know that I did the 2003 Crab Nike commercial.
I see that. Alive with Technology, a brand I don't even recognize. C4, so it's an explosive.
Citrion C4, that's the brand.
That's great.
That's a car.
Oh, it's
I
a
got
car. Small family car.
So he's on
It's
shoes,
for a
cars,
European
and
automaker.
Gatorade.
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
And Rain. Oh, no way, that's what it's called.
Yeah, that's the title of the commercial.
The commercials.
I
got
want to know
titles.
about the
See,
Nike commercial entitled just
Listen.
Crab.
Crab. It's
Putting-
called Crab.
Putting a title on your commercials. My reation when I first heard this guy's name was accurate. I'm going back to it. Like just straight
That
up
was a
anger.
blanket statement.
Yeah, it was the right choice. So anyway, I'm probably not going to see Gran Turismo.
No, you know they have to give them titles and stuff because there's like awards for commercials. So there's somebody that's like for best lighting.
No, it should all
in
be.
an automobile commercial.
The nominees are
Crab.
That Nike commercial, that Gatorade commercial, that commercial for the C4
The
company.
one where the guy says,
no,
Thing.
the one where the guy says, Bob, we had a baby eats a boy.
no, because I'm going to instate a rule:
What?
one commercial per brand per year.
One commercial per brand per year. What's
That's
that
it.
mean? They can only make
can
one.
only make one commercial per year.
Gatorade only gets one a year. They already
'Cause
used it this year. and it
why
was
should
terrible.
Don't use it on Berry Blast. We've got fucking Mountain Ice Shyster coming down.
If you switch those flavors and colors, I would never know the difference.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what white.
any of the
tastes
like if any
Yeah.
of the white or bluish ones, they're all the same.
Yeah.
Like if you gave me if you gave me like a blue one and a red one, I would probably be able to tell you.
I could taste yellow with a gun to my head, like classic.
Classic lemon lime.
Yeah, I would be
for
like, I know
sure, for
exactly.
sure, for
yeah,
sure.
I can imagine that.
Yeah.
That's that's.
That one's ingrained.
For sure, because the taste of lemon lime Gatorade makes me remember being bad at sports.
It makes me think about getting yelled at by
by
bored-
coach.
Yeah, bored middle-aged 30 guys.
Yeah.
I wish I was drinking a lemon lime Gatorade instead of talking about the Gran Turismo movie a few minutes ago.
Oh wow, and I don't like lemon lime Gatorade. It's the worst one
But you still agree, right?
for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
No, this movie is clearly not made for us.
yeah.
This is
not, no.
We are not its target demographic.
Are you guys racing game guys at all?
No.
No, you're not racing game at all.
I mean, I did back in the day. I used to play, your Mario Kart.
That's cool.
Your
Mario Kart's like
Rad
ubiquitous.
Racer,
Yeah.
your
Like
Cruisin' USA, your
You with that
F-Zero.
Your F-Zero.
F-Zero.
So I have a confession. I do not play video games like that, but I do constantly work on. You were talking about you knew a word that I should know, but in the vending side of my life, you repair games. So like at CC's or whatever, they're gonna have like a platform that's like rumbling in VR headsets and stuff like that. So by that admission, I do play racing games more than I care to think about. You gotta fix them or work on them or whatnot.
So you're not much of a gamer, but you have to play them just through like testing.
Make sure it works.
No, I have a healthy I think I have a healthy relationship with video games because I don't really play all the time. But like say the new Legend of Zelda, I've played a lot of Zelda games in my lifetime. So I will carve out X amount of hours over the next 6 months to just kind of play on my like little Nintendo Switch.
See Hilton's tat there?
Zelda guy.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, like that. To be completely honest, Groucho has a song that is named Zelda, and I grew up playing like the original one and Link. I've played most of the major titles.
Nice.
But that's like really the only game I play. It's kind of, I don't like. I'll play Skyrim or something like that if I'm. It just
Have
one
you
day.
seen the video online where it's one guy and he took, was it Ocarina of Time, Hilton? Where he did the prog rock version.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't it Ocarina of Time? So he's like, it's the music from Ocarina of Time, but if it was a prog rock band, and it's objectively fucking awesome.
I would 100% say that some of the music I've written in my lifetime is inspired by Zelda.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
And
especially
you're
the
doing
8-bit stuff,
you're doing a lot more like score work, right? Or is that what you'd call it?
I don't.
Scoring?
I'll put it like this: I don't text my girlfriend and say like, "Hey, I got a score tonight, baby."
Yeah. Like I gotta write music for this movie.
But that's what it's called, and that has been a really awesome thing that has sort of developed in my life, and it really was just. You'd watch these trailers. Like I have all those drum packs. I have like the Hans Zimmer, dun, 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 dun. I could make this trailer.
Fuck yeah.
And eventually, I got sick of being like, well, I could do that when you're watching it, and I just kind of wanted to start trying.
Just do it.
Yeah,
that.
And I started doing that, probably about a decade ago, but like really taking it seriously, like maybe like 5-7 years ago. And it has opened a lot of doors, and I'm like I just did something through Viet's. Their production company would change their name to Pursuit Films. We just did
they came out with the press release and everything now. So yeah, officially they are Pursuit Films.
Yeah, they did a thing for Sesame Street. I'm
Really, he was telling us about that.
proud of that, but like it's not music that I would like, hey, yell at somebody from the other room, hey, come here and check out this riff, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I sent that to you. We probably have it to pull up actually. I've always loved that idea of just being able to like play music that's not, you're not just handcuffed to writing a song with that structure of a song.
Yeah, like a lot of times we were saying like before I have a very eclectic taste in music. I think probably everybody at the table does, and I want
here we go.
I want a genre hop.
Yeah.
Taking nature walks with my family here in the fields of Oklahoma. Being in nature makes my body feel very calm and peaceful. My name's Wastotsi. I'm 11 years old, and the people in my family are my mom, my dad, and my brother. I'm proud to be a Native American. My name Wastotsi means star that can't
It's it's got some car commercial stuff
My mom,
in the middle.
when they're picking out my name, had two really
It's a
good
really healthy
names,
creative outlet.
and Wastotsi
It's also challenging.
Yeah. I'm sure.
It is, yeah, because like on this particular thing, the producer, the whole team was like extreme. They're awesome. I love working with them. Really professional. But there's a part in the middle. I knew what it needed. I knew that it needed happy-go-lucky acoustic guitar, and I just tried to worm out of it. So I sent them like 3 or 4 different things. I was like, well, what do you think about this? And I was trying to be a little too artsy.
Yeah, and they were like, just
it
give me
just
the thing.
needs the thing. You know what it needs. Like these trailers you're watching, you know what it needs. It needs big cinematic drums, and it needs a guy saying next summer. And that's
I
what
missed
it's
that original guy. What was his name? Dan something?
Oh, I don't know. I'll see if I can pull it up.
There was a movie they did based around that world of. It was called like In a World.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So the other thing that you did,
Don LaFontaine.
Classic
Don
Don
LaFontaine.
Yeah, classic.
Sure.
In a World. Fuck yeah, I would love to do that shit. In a world
You guys are pretty good at it.
where Tom Cruise breaks his ankle while being OT8.
In the worst possible world where Tommy's injured on set.
5'4" Tom Cruise on a milk crate.
In a world where overgrown little boy Tom Cruise.
When you did how many times have you done the live music at Circle? Was that just the one time that you did that?
No, I've done it 3 times.
Oh, okay.
3 or 4.
That's the thing that I really want to come to when you do it again.
Hey, you should
'cause
come
that
out,
seems
yeah.
really, really fucking cool.
We talked about doing it in the summer, maybe even outdoors.
Fun.
They contacted me a couple years ago and really, hey, do you want to do this? Like one of the guys from Jacob Fred Jazz Odyssey's done it, and a couple other people have done it. Do you want to do the Halloween thing where you play on an organ? And so I said yes before I really knew what I was saying yes
Getting
to.
into, yeah.
And I went in to kind of try and play around.
That sounds
and
fun. Fuck.
It's 90 minutes of the organ, and I was like, I can't do this. I cannot. It's 2021 at the time, so like times have changed, in the attention span. So, I had like maybe 3 or 4 months, and I kind of started exploring. I call it the Mark Rebellet machine. It's like a looping thing, so I can use that in like.
Do you know who that is, Hilton?
No.
The Mark Rubelet or Rubelet?
Yeah, I don't know how to say it.
Rubelet?
He's a very strange gift to humanity.
He's that guy that does like all the looping videos in his underwears.
There's one specific video I saw of him a couple years ago. Anyway, but that machine he uses, it's a Boss RC505. But it's pretty, it's like a recording studio, like
Branded
in real time.
segment.
Yeah, you track your thing, you record it, and it's a loop, or you can set it to where it doesn't loop, so you could just like play infinite leads over it and stuff. And I kind of started toying around with that and brought in a lot of synths and stuff, and we sort of built this foundation of like, it's the future, So I don't think a lot of people are expecting in Nosferatu like for it to get hit by like some intense like drum machine and stuff.
Right.
And it's been cool. I'm really grateful to do that.
Yeah, when I'm seeing all the the posts about that, I was like, man, I need to check that out next time, because that's some stuff that like I would have loved to have been in doing when I was still playing music all the time.
I did it the first year by myself, and that was like just stupid of me. Like it was just this terrible, like stressful experience. Like, what if the drum machine turns
Was
off?
another? Oh yeah, so I see what you mean.
But this
not
next
having
year,
any backup.
yeah, I had like I did have a backup guy. This it's a friend of mine named Mike. Him and I are like actually open up some rehearsal spaces together soon.
Oh, sweet.
But he's a very talented musician, very talented audio engineer. He's done like he has a lot of experience in that world too. He's done like stuff for like Netflix and commercials and stuff. So I kind of explained to him what my idea was, and he's sort of obliged as an auxiliary position, some real drums or sometimes playing some synth, because to keep sound happening for 90 minutes
the entirety.
in real time is stressful as shit.
Yeah.
So
Pressure's on. You can't fuck up.
I would use like 30 seconds of ambient noise, and that way I can like reset and like delete all these things I just recorded. Because one thing that was really important to me was that I don't want to do it and just hit play, like space bar and be like, hey, I made this, stand there. So I want to make it in real time. So there's a lot of organic, it's improv. The whole time is improv, because I'd go watch these guys play the organ for like Saturday morning cartoons up there. They do that like once a month, like old timey piano with like a 15-minute black and white thing. And it's really cool in a short burst, but for 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's a long haul.
Oh,
Well,
man,
and you think about it, like when you're seeing like a show, you see a musical or something where there's like an orchestral, the orchestra's in the pit, and like for the most part, the people in the show, none of them are out there for the entirety, but like I've done musical theater on both sides. I've been in the orchestra, I've been in and when you're in the pit, you're there, you're not seen, but you're playing the whole time. You're doing the entirety of the show. So you're not really getting those breaks except for the brief moments where the trumpet section's not playing in this song or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a whole different level of not necessarily stress. Yes, stress, but pressure, because like you said, you don't get to go
workload
backstage
is
and do a wardrobe change or
Right. I wore a robe this last one because we did a movie Haxan, which is it's about witchcraft.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's actually a really interesting movie. It's a 100-year-old movie.
Oh shit, that's why.
It's like
Missed that premiere, did
Yeah, I was
you?
like, I don't think I've seen but a couple of those century-old movies.
it's like a fake documentary kind of thing. You should
Wait,
check it out sometime.
the
man.
original mockumentary.
It might actually really be, because it's like
That's interesting.
It's a documentary, so to speak, over witchcraft through the ages, and they had to film all these scenes, and it was like I don't want to quote anything right now, but I think it was like a insanely expensive film to make at the time, and nobody really understood if it was like telling a story
For
if it
real?
was people didn't really get it.
On that Orson Welles shit, the War of the Worlds shit.
The original Blair Witch Project.
Damn, I fell for that shit so hard.
I did too. Actually,
Did
I was
you
like,
really?
Dude, it's real. The camera's shaking and shit.
We thought it was so. They did a good job, honestly, though.
Well, you hadn't seen anything like that. I'm saying for real, and that's kind of the way this thing is.
And we weren't hip to the internet trickery yet.
No, it was a different time.
Sure, the fuck was.
Yeah.
And my friend, I never forget, my best friend Joe, rest in peace. He was living way out in Broken Arrow, like county line, Broken Arrow, right? So his backyard was basically fucking woods.
Yeah.
And we're all in his house, like looking up this shit on the internet before the movie came out, like just getting scared as a motherfucker. Like, let's all eat mushrooms and go in the backyard and get real scared.
See
We're like,
a
why
witch.
would you do that?
It's the
Yeah.
witch,
Let's just be really scared for like 4 hours.
I'm grateful for all the bad trips I've had in my life. Come out of it a little stronger.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. You're like, I can get through that. I can get through this, broken arm or whatever.
Yeah, hang on to the grass and cry. You'll be all right.
It's spinning. It's going so fast.
I'm on a ball of dirt flying through space.
Hell yeah. Surfing. We also watched a trailer for Dune Part 2
I didn't realize that I needed to have seen Dune Part 1 by now.
to understand the trailer for Dune Part 2.
Really felt like I let people down.
I want to apologize to my coach and my teammates and everybody I let down.
Dennis Villeneuve, I'm sorry. I did not see your vision come to life before I could see the next part of your vision.
I do now want to watch the first one more, though.
You should. If I was in y'all's position, because I actually thought Dune was amazing. I thought it was not good. It was amazing.
Okay.
Excellent.
When they're going to do the second one or whatever, I'm sure they're going to re-show the first one.
Oh yeah.
You should go see it.
See it in the
next
theater,
week,
yeah.
You
the
said
second
that
one,
off mic. You said you really
See it in the
stressed
theater.
to see it in the theater.
If
I was,
possible.
yeah. I mean, I'd see it in IMAX, bro. Like it was, it was intense, man. It was an incredible experience. Like, I mean, the media was meant to be consumed like that. Like, whatever. If a person's a Tool fan, and you're trying to show it to them on a laptop, they're like, it's cool, I guess, whatever. But like, if you were there, at that impressionable age, and you were like getting blown away by lasers and fire, the experience is different. And I'm saying, you would do yourself a service to go see Dune in the theater.
Hell yeah.
I remember I haven't read the book, and obviously we haven't seen the newest movie, part 1 or 2. But I do remember the original film, and the one thing that I definitely that made me think back to that in this was that Sting was in this. No, I'm kidding. Was that
Jean-Luc Picard was in it.
right? Yeah, he was. Was the level of world building is this really? I was excited to go see part 1. Watching this part 2 trailer, because I was like, wow, look at the care in this world.
Yeah.
The level of costuming, the level of detail in the settings, even in the little bits of dialogue, he discussed water. Paul Atreides did with I don't know her name.
Zendaya. I don't know her character's name.
Yeah, exactly. With Zendaya's character, and he talks about imagine water, and he's talking to her about swimming, and just that concept of swimming being so alien to someone that it would be described to them.
Well, Oh, I think I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No. It's so enticing.
The music in that film, I know that Hans Zimmer went out of his way to try to create alien music. I mean, so like the language and the singing and the chanting, it's scales that I have not really heard a lot of, and it's to reinforce what you're talking about. This is a universe. Like, what would music sound in 10,000 years on another planet with like these sort of family cultures that have like. This family sort of controls this planet and so forth. So as they go from one planet to another planet, there's like some throat singing or like, it's really cool, man. Like, I sound like I was a paid spokesperson, but I really enjoyed the film.
Well, and I love that though, because that level of when something is so gripping to someone that they explain it in that kind of detail and they say things like, go see it in the theater.
Yeah.
It's that to me is
that'll get me more than
such a ringing endorsement.
Yeah, that'll get me more than a lot of other stuff usually.
Who gives a shit about Avatar? You should go see Dune.
Fucking A, I actually wholheartedly agree.
Yeah.
I cannot find anything to make me care about that franchise.
No, I don't. I don't care at all.
I'm the fact that I know the new one.
I was so bored at the first one.
Really?
We went to see it on Christmas. It's like a thing some of my family does, the newer one.
Cool.
So we got dragged to this thing, and my girlfriend, she leans over and she just immediately noticed the papyrus font. She's like,
There's a whole thing where like James Cameron's like, I didn't even know it was papyrus.
Yeah. I didn't know about that either. But she was like, hey,
there's an interview where they like talk to, they're like, what's up with this bullshit font?
If this font's anything like the rest of the movie, then we're good.
We're fucked.
Yeah.
Beloved new franchise, terrible font.
Yeah.
I will say,
it matters.
Did you ever listen to the band, the House Harkonnen?
Dude, yeah, I was literally telling my girlfriend about that the other night. That guy made a joke one time that I use in my sets too, but it was like there was nobody in the house. Like it was like the other band watching them play, and they were just fucking killing it. Just like the heaviest.
They're so
like,
good.
Yeah, and at the end of the song, he was like, "Thanks, we wrote this next song while we were playing that last one," and then they just went into they just jumped into a big, a heavier thing that was like even heavier and doomier.
Yeah,
cool.
If you like heavy stuff, check out the House Harkonnen.
Are they still going?
I don't think so.
I've literally thought about a podcast idea. I mean, you guys should use this for like a little segment, but like bands that should have made it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's all these like bands like
Fair to Midland,
the Feds,
Yep.
you know what
The
I mean?
Feds,
Like, all these bands that I know that you and I are both like, grew up. I probably play music because of like Shamrock and the Feds. And some of these like, I just jammed in Telgunner the other day. I've made my roommate a fan of them, and he's like, well, when can you see these guys live? And I was like, never.
You never.
Yeah, I don't even know, to be honest, I don't know if anything about any of the members. The guy that played bass was
Chris.
Yeah,
Brown.
he's sort of associated with a lot of my other friends, but I don't really know much about him. I hope he's doing all right.
Yeah, I know Matt's not really playing much anymore.
No.
He just got married recently. Yeah, it's wild, man. Fair to Midland's another one. Like they got signed to Surge's label from System of a Down, and still, didn't make it. Like they had the one album.
Dara was a really kind guy. I had an old band called King Cobra.
What an amazing style he had.
It was something that you had to behold. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Again, you're talking about things that do or don't do justice in the wrong media. Watching those guys play in like a room full of 10 or 500 people was always like, it was like watching a guy get electrocuted on stage.
And that's why you're like, how did they not make it?
I know, yeah. I heard a story that they upstaged some band one time, on one of those festival gigs. They were like the opening act, and Dara was like hanging from the rafters and stuff like that. And I heard that, there's so much.
He only had one speed though. It's like
on.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Like,
and he turned it off after talking to him. He was such a nice guy, man. Yeah, that sucks. But I really think somebody should do a special over that. Like just bands that should have or could have but didn't. I call it whatever you want.
Well, if you ever want to start a podcast, we got a little network you can be on.
Yeah, hey man, I would do like a short run. Like a little
mini series. Yeah,
that kind of stuff's
It'd
great.
be fun to have a couple people on. Yeah.
Okay. Dune. Let's see it. Let's watch it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay.
You want to read the book too?
It's
Man,
massive.
that's a big ask.
I'm just saying we could just.
Is it on Audible?
Well,
Maybe.
yes,
I'm curious
sure
how long it is on audio. But
Oh man,
because Dune's one of those things that when people get into it, they get into it.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
I think it was Game of Thrones. I got that on there. That's like 40 hours on audiobook,
unfinished.
and you're like, Jesus.
I just read the Dark Tower series on audiobook, which is like Stephen King's magnum opus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you feel weird about saying you read a book after you listened to it?
So I actually was anti audiobooks up until I would say 6-9 months ago. But a person made a very valid point one time, and they said, you do realize that throughout the majority of human history, people have absorbed this media like through storytelling. Like a lot of people could not read.
Yep.
So there would be like a guy who in the
Read
town
it to
square-
you.
Yeah, and that was enough for me to be like, oh, I guess I need to reevaluate my idea.
My whole thing was that I want to take in this information. I want to get what's in this book, but the amount of time that I have to literally physically hold a book in my hands is so small.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But the amount of time where I'm driving or doing dishes or doing chores or, whatever else, that's a much bigger window where I can still take in that information while doing other shit and then still feel like I got the book. But there's that weird thing where I feel like I have to like asterisk like, oh yeah, I read that book. I mean, I listened to it on Audible. And I'm like, you don't have to do that.
I felt the same way. I actually just put Dune in my little library.
Oh, hell yeah.
it's
How long
21
was it?
hours, so.
21?
That's not too
Yeah,
bad.
the Dark Tower, the 7th one, I think was like close to 30.
Yeah.
It's just a massive thing, so.
For me, the biggest thing about audiobooks was realizing how much of that weight is on my shoulders to make sure that I'm listening properly.
I rewind. I'm driving, phone call. Somebody sends a text message. Yeah, I'm not paying. It's like if I scanned 10 pages on a book and didn't read any of it,
Well, and especially transitioning from listening to music to audiobooks for the first time, I was so used to you put on music and you're just vibing
Doing
to
other
it.
shit, yeah.
Audiobooks, I kind of had
Gotta
to
pay
learn
attention.
to be like, okay, it's audiobook time. I'm going to consciously be listening.
Yeah.
Make sure you're listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll occasionally still find myself being like, God damn it, you weren't listening for the past 4.5 minutes.
Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was just hitting your head. The words were just bouncing off your brain while you were thinking about
Once
dumb
I
shit.
made that conscious decision to listen to these audiobooks, then
Yeah.
I was like, no, that's reading. That's
Yeah, for
sure.
you're making that effort. You're still taking in the words. Just because reading happened to be the word we've been using for a lifetime, we're just going to go with that.
I think the
Yeah.
thing that made me feel bad
Booking.
about it was that one of the first audiobooks I ever did was David Cross's book,
Yeah.
and he basically negs you for not reading the book in the audiobook.
What a piece of shit.
And I'm like, come on, man.
Never meet your
It's
heroes.
very funny though.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's objectively funny to do that in your audiobook. Be like, this is the part where there's a thing that only translates in the reading when you would have that if you read the book.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Anyways, let's see. What do we got here? The writer's strike affecting shit.
Yeah, I saw it's going to be putting a pause on the Marvel Blade reboot, but really just the writer's strike in general is the biggest topic.
The
right
writer's strike, the last time the writer's strike really hit home was season 4 of The Office.
now. Season 2 of Heroes, same strike, but just that
same
that
years.
really
I didn't give a fuck about Heroes.
derailed some major projects.
It made that season 4 of The Office that was so fucking strong have to end like 8 episodes earlier than it should have, I believe. And that's a real fucking bummer to think of like the 8 episodes we could have possibly gotten at the height of when The Office was like at its best.
Yeah.
It was the same period when the show was doing extra long episodes because they knew how good their content was.
Yeah.
And the writers are hamstringed by this strike.
And the NBC was like, you can have an hour.
The last writer strike I think of, I don't know if you know this or not, but it's the reason The Apprentice got put on TV and got greenlit. Because they didn't have any like content.
Yeah.
And literally, there's I don't know if it's Gandhi or whoever, but there's an old quote, every choice can affect 10,000 tomorrows. And literally, because of the
Wow.
last writer strike,
Yeah.
probably
Donald
ended
Trump.
up with it fucking
We had
Donald Trump.
the insurrection at the Capitol.
Yeah, I'm serious. It's the crazy thing
The
to
butterfly
think about, yeah.
effect is like, or the people that trace it back to Seth Meyers making fun of him at the White House Correspondents'
Yeah,
Dinner.
it's something. You can see it in Rewind, but you can't predict it in the
It's
future.
so
who knows?
fucking wild. Yeah, that's so insane. what a fucking terrible, terrible thing to happen to the Earth. Reality TV was.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I think it's the fucking worst. It's the absolute goddamn worst.
I was on an episode
And
of Wife Swap.
I'm not going to be mad at you if you enjoy it, because I'm not going to pretend that I don't enjoy some of it from time to time, because I would be a total hypocrite. But while I'm enjoying it, I'm like, this is such trash.
I'm a fucking terrible person.
Yeah, I'm like, I need a bath.
Yeah.
Why did I say a bath? I literally never take a bath.
You do after reality
Shower.
TV.
Yeah, I need to soak. That's what it is. You got to soak.
A mud bath. I was on an episode of Wife Swap with one of my old
Wait.
bands. It's so stupid.
How so? The music was?
Do you remember
Or you were in the
No,
episode?
I was in the episode.
Hold on.
Do you
Hilton, are you listening to this?
Oh, I am.
Okay.
do you remember, back in the day I was in a band called My Solstice. And,
Yes.
For whatever reason, they did an episode of Wife Swap where it was a family from Tulsa and a family from New York. And like the Tulsa kid was like a wrestler and the New York kids were like artists, so they swap wives or whatever. And so now New York mom's going to teach the Tulsa boy about culture and all this stuff. And in the episode, his unspoken ambition that he wasn't allowed to, pursue because he's a wrestler, was music, which is ridiculous. You can do both of these things, dude. I did both of these things. Anyway, so they brought him for
two hobbies.
They brought him for a guitar lesson, and then we performed, and he sang a song with us. It was one of the cringiest things that I've ever been involved in.
So now I have so many questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is like not on my resume.
Question one. Was this a thing where they approached you beforehand?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, man, I can make. I want to be delicate about how I tell the story because there's people involved in it that I don't really care for anymore. So we had a person in our life that was our producer, so to speak.
Okay.
Right? We're young, and we're looking to get in. Oh, I can get you these shows. I can sign you to my record label. All the right things, whatever. I have a record label.
Tell me who it is off mic.
I'll tell you who it is. Yeah. Anyway, and so because of that worming and wiggling, we ended up, hey, I got a big opportunity for you. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're going to be on ABC, man. Like, we had like a, they eventually, like, there's like a watch
The
party.
American Broadcasting Corporation?
That's the one. You better register with BMI right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, and it was like I had like dread as it got close to airing because I remember like the performance of it, and they were like trying to teach this kid how to quote scream. It was during that time of, you know what I mean? So they're like, pass the mic around, you scream, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I was like, no, I'm not going to scream into a microphone.
That's hilarious. I'm not going to just scream into this microphone.
No, like forever. At least at that time in my life, I had the foresight to understand that this was like permanent, Yeah, the internet is written in ink,
Yeah.
Be there forever, man, Anyway, but yeah, that's my wife swap story.
Oh, that's fucking insane. For the listener, Hilton had to go potty. He doesn't want you to know that.
You can find it episode. I looked
man.
it up a long time ago.
I was going to say, what year was this?
Man, somewhere between like
Early 2000s, right?
yeah, well, maybe even later. I graduated 04, so I think it was probably 2007 to 2010, somewhere in that
That's
little window.
so funny.
The worst part of TV, yeah.
So, what was the New York lady like? Did you like?
Dude, I don't remember. I blanked it out.
Yeah.
The whole experience was
But
like.
you did the lesson with the kid, like personally. You did.
I did one and somebody else did one. I don't
Okay.
remember which one they aired.
I see.
and
What
they-
do you remember about the lesson?
So like, at the time period, like the iPad wasn't like part of like day to day, right? But I
Yeah.
remember like they had a version of that, a big brick of one of that. And, so basically they framed everything, you sit here. And, like we never did a lesson. We just did like snippets. And then they're like, hey, could you guys hug for us? Bring it in, and it was like, I was like so resistant to it.
So you didn't actually get to teach the kid shit.
They used the other guy. I don't know if they decided to do one with him on the spot or if they had it,
Yeah.
but I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like I didn't have a lot of experience with like a high quality production time period. I hadn't been around lav mics and cameras and, people pulling up in a van. Like, I don't know how much experience you have with like, the film world, but I mean, it makes people jaded,
Right.
You got friends that work on the Res Dog set right now, and I hear them I hear their horror stories of like, these people, they're from New York and they're just like verbally abusive and yelling. So this van pulls up and they're like, we're fucking running behind, and so they're staging all this stuff and trying to get the shot. And we got to be out of here in 30 minutes.
Like, we fucked up, so now we're gonna we're gonna be shitty to you.
We had to like do film all of it in less than an hour, and
wow,
it was a truly
so.
terrible
What was the performance? Was it like a show that was already gonna happen and they came and filmed it, or did they stage the show?
It was going to be a show. They were going to come out and film one of our shows.
What was the venue? Do you remember?
Yes, it's the other side.
Okay, yeah. Very familiar.
Right,
68th and Lewis.
Yeah. No, so we had a show like maybe a day or two before that they were supposed to come out and film at, and it was a great turnout. We hey man, you're going to be on ABC, you know. And then they didn't make it. So then they had us come in on like a Sunday morning at like 11 a.m. and like set up and then pretend. So there was like, maybe 10 people there as the quote crowd, but they would just kind of like bunch them up together and then get a shot like right behind them. We're supposed to be like, rocking out. Hey, you guys are rockers, rock out. All these like super cringy stuff, man. I'm like, ugh.
This is my favorite.
It's so stupid.
I know it is. It's genuinely so stupid, and I love that it happens. Like, I mean, I hate that it happens, but like hearing about it is just so funny to like, just dissect it sort of and like break the veneer down of like what you're actually seeing. Like that's what I'm like. I feel like I'm getting revenge on my parents for Santa Claus by tearing apart the reality shows they watch.
Good,
like when I told my dad that like Storage Wars was super staged and shit.
No,
oh man, watching him like come to that realization was like seeing a kid realize that Santa wasn't real.
Good.
Well, and these things where corporate interests come into creative spaces and just act grossly like that.
In a single sentence, you nailed it, man.
Still happens.
Sure.
So we got to talk about it. So that anyone out there who gets encountered by someone in a current version of that same scenario can hopefully see those red flags.
Yeah, I don't know if I would work in those situations because I am very quick to when verbally abused, walk the fuck out.
Yeah, this is happening. That's kind of the way I am too.
Like I have quit jobs. Like I literally, my cousin's husband at the time was my boss and disrespected me at work. And we literally got into a screaming match that ended with a series of fuck you back and forth like a movie. Fuck you. No, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. And I was like, I'm the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's the only escalation you have left is that or punching a person or something, right?
Yeah, I can't. The people that just, okay. And they, I can't understand that. Like nobody deserves to be able to disrespect you like that. Period.
No, yeah.
Period.
Emotional intelligence is very important, and I think certain industries don't really like serve that. I've been around. A lot of my experience in the film world has been like, so I'll run audio on like documentaries and stuff like that. A guy holding a boom mic, and that's been really cool. And I really have like some friends that I've met, and it's like these super small productions. But then also, when Martin Scorsese's filming in town, I like went to be an extra just because it was like the pandemic, and what are you going to do, man? So and there, dude, there's like these people from LA and 300 excited Okies just happy to be in a Hollywood thing, and there's people yelling at them and stuff. Like, it was. I did say to one lady at one point in time, I was like, hey, I don't like really give a fuck to be here. Like, it's cool, but like this is not. I'm not.
Well, and they hold that proverbial carrot of like, look, if you don't want this spot, somebody else will take it, and they'll let me talk to them like that. And I'm like,
fine.
Exactly, that's fine. I'll walk out of here with my pride and feel great about it because I'm not. I
like
about
this
that
story
shit.
better, than the one where I got yelled at. And
I'm not about that shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and there's that carrot is a glimmer of hope that it'll lead to something. And sure, there's that tiny little infinitesimal chance, but there's also a million other chances that are going to come in this thing called life.
Yeah, and is it worth putting up with that?
Exactly.
Well, to tie it into like the writer's strike and whatnot, I think that the system, the way it's designed, because anything that you're going to talk about is, it's a system, and that's just a word to say, well, that's how it is. But this system in, media and entertainment, Hollywood and all that stuff, it's just like a monster that's been going for so long. And a lot of people don't realize, like, when you're an extra on that thing, they're paying you or whatever, but they're going to get that mileage. So they're going to do 16, 18-hour days. They're going to shoot till it's done. And the production's too expensive to just shut it down in the middle of the day, but I've worked a lot of jobs like that, film crew jobs. We did something for PBS where, the people aren't familiar with the geography. So like they had us in Texas one night and we did a 12-hour shoot, and then we had to drive 4 hours and then be up at 7 a.m. So we didn't get to the hotel at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I think that wears on people, and that turns into just a giant fucking turd of a person.
Yeah.
Your soul is dog shit because you just never have any time for self-reflection, and that's been going on for 10 years, and then you're the guy from Oklahoma who's going to get yelled at.
It's insane.
Not fucking happening, bro. We don't talk to people like that down here.
The chasm of the differential between the demand for arts and the appreciation for arts is unfucking real. Like how blind people are to how much they demand being entertained.
Yeah.
They have to, you know what I mean?
Create something yourself.
But then they're like, oh, well, they don't deserve to get paid. What the fuck do these writers want? Whatever.
Yeah.
You're just writing for a dumb show, or you're writing jokes for Conan O'Brien and you want more money. I'm out here on a fucking oil rig or whatever, and they want to conflate those kind
like
of
these things are
bullshit
like relative
things
to each other.
Yeah, and it's like, but when you come home, do you not want to have the Conan show to laugh at or whatever?
Yeah.
Or do you not want to have? You want to have that thing. You're not.
Also, if you're out there on that oil rig, you probably are making hella money because oil jobs, especially oil jobs where you're on location, typically pay really well. And also, if they don't, then your ass deserves to be paid more too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I was going to say they don't necessarily, because I remember my first stepdad worked in oil refineries and we did not have money.
Well, exactly. So, and I don't know nearly enough about the industry to even jump into that. But if then he definitely deserved to pay more.
Yeah, that's the constant. I think the confusion there is like, no. You both deserve to be paid more. That's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not that he doesn't deserve it because you don't have it. You deserve it too. Stop making that argument that it's one or the other.
That thinking is a process of a system, and it's got it ties people down in ways they don't really realize. Like every human being, like I think you could solve a lot of like humanity's problems with I'm gonna do it right here on.
We're ready.
But no, I'm serious. If you just removed like if you weren't allowed to make profit out of a couple different systems like healthcare, right, or housing. I know that right now, like these corporate interests are moving into the housing market. It's not a good thing.
No, it's terrible.
And I'm not advocating for like just full on socialism. I'm saying there should be certain things that are outside the bounds of the capitalistic system.
Absolutely,
just a couple
prisons.
things. Yeah, exactly. These things that really create needless suffering. We've touched on aliens a couple times, but like for real, if we were talking to aliens and they'd be like, well, why do you have homeless people? We would try to argue and be like, well, it's logistics. You know what I mean?
They would
like,
tell you to go fuck yourself.
And we could solve that problem, And
oh yeah.
I'm not hardcore like, kill them all or, take everybody's money away from them. But at the same time, like when you look at like Bezos or any of these people, they haven't even tried to solve these problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I understand the
I
desire to like want a statue or something like that. I get it. You want to be a great person in history, but you haven't even tried to solve these like basic issues. And the system is not going to do it. It's going to continue taking wealth from people who are working.
And the core of the American dream is this idea of competition, of winning, of succeeding, and the idea that in America we have sort of come to terms with, not to say that this is true, but we've come to terms with this false idea that our success is going to mean that somewhere else, someone is not succeeding, and we're okay with that.
Yeah, I did
and that
better
is
than they
not
did.
healthy.
Yeah,
the idea
not necessary.
It's not
necessary.
exactly.
We can lift each other up.
We have the ability to solve our problems if and it's not impossible, and I don't understand why.
That
I think
idea of
people
somebody's trying to get your spot. That's another fucking toxic idea of like,
Yeah.
somebody's trying to, if I don't hustle enough, or if I don't do this, if I don't do that, someone's out to get my spot. No, like there's spots for everybody.
It's also relentless though, and it beats people down. Like the Blood and Water theme of the song or whatnot. We went and played the other day on the news, and that was a cool experience. But my drummer was getting calls from bill collectors while we were playing on TV,
Right.
Talking about
Yeah.
it never stops, and it's a system that's like it's Lord of the Flies. It's run away. I wonder what it'll take. It's going to take hopefully not a incredibly painful but traumatic event. For people to be able to realize like we're doing this to ourselves at some point in time. We could, if you would just create profit outside of, or deny profit in a couple systems, whether it's, the Congress investing in stocks, there's like these 10 simple things. Like, hey,
Absolutely.
what? Medicine is not, it's not something that you should just infinitely profit off.
Oh,
of.
I have said a lot of times out loud that for-profit healthcare is one of the greatest crimes against humanity ever
it's terrible.
committed.
It really is.
It's
so
literally
stupid.
a crime against humanity. The idea of saying that if you don't have the right amount of money, you don't get health care.
Good luck, you're on your own. Yeah.
Is the most callous. That's not even the right word.
It's not a radical idea, and it's been aligned with these things that I don't necessarily think are possible. I'm not saying in a utopian society we couldn't all just live in this a socialist paradise or whatnot, but that's just not how humanity works, and it's not going to happen. And at the same time, social medicine or housing, we should have that. We need
that's attainable. We see.
Yeah,
it
we need
work
to
in other
merge
places.
these ideas because people are still going to want to work hard. They're going to want to invest. They're going to want to do all that stuff, and you're not going to stop that. And at the same time,
It's just that it would require the ceasing of all of the money being funneled up to the
or
one.
if a person is struggling with addiction or whatnot, there should be an avenue out that it benefits society and it gives that person, I don't know, housing is not. It's not really that expensive. I don't understand why. A person if you're Bezos, go buy a bunch of land and offer people a place to go. It's not going to be a subsidiary. The government will probably write it off. I don't know. I'm not going to try to even take on homelessness, but I'm just saying nobody's tried.
The bigger point
Nobody's
is that
tried.
it's much more attainable than people are being allowed to believe.
It's more attainable than going to fucking Mars,
100%.
which is interesting, sure, but
Yeah, who fucking cares? We got problems here.
yeah, and this asshole's trying to leave. I wonder why.
We're
right?
Earthlings. Let's blow up Earth things. Let's call back to Mr. Show. Yeah, no, it's wild. Yeah, for-profit healthcare is real sick. Anyways, yeah, please.
Picks and plugs?
Should we pick it and plug it?
I think we gotta.
Okay.
I think we got to talk about Groucho and Blood in the Water again, since he brought up just a few minutes ago.
Absolutely. Check out all of Groucho's works on Spotify or whatever streaming service. Or do you have a website where they can purchase physical copies, vinyls, perhaps, or anything like that?
Bandcamps. We use Linktree.
Oh, okay.
I thought about building a website, but you're just paying.
It's a lot.
Yeah, right. It doesn't really matter
It was
right
a big
now.
pain in the ass.
Yeah.
We've
We
got-
have to have it. Otherwise, yeah. It hosts the site or the podcasts.
We've got some regional shows this summer as you can call it a tour if you want. Maybe 15 dates that we're doing in the Midwest, and it's cool to start seeing some momentum. I got a lot of love for Tulsa, but getting people to show up out here, it's not it's not really. I don't really know what the mechanism is, and it might be youth. But it's definitely not ambition or talent or any of that stuff. And what in the Groucho experience, when we go play another town like Norman or something like that, people love it, man. And it's not, people are there and just the very fact that you're not in your hometown, I think literally makes people pay attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the idea that the band came from a different
It's
town,
exotic,
it gives you a different level of a feeling of legitimacy.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we've got merch and we just got a whole, I meant to bring you guys some shirts and I brought a single sticker. Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah.
But I'd be happy to, or, you guys should come out. We've got a show at Thelma's Peach. We're going to do maybe once every 6 weeks in Tulsa. And then we're playing with Smile, Empty Soul.
When's this?
Oh, no shit. All right.
Yeah. At the Vanguard. Yeah.
Throwback.
When are those shows?
May 20th is at Thelma's Peach, and drum roll as I look up the Vanguard show. I think it's. I know it's in June. I'm not sure the actual date.
We'll come back to that one.
Yeah,
What
sure.
about a pick of the week? Anything you've been into lately?
Musically,
It doesn't matter. Could be music, could be movies, could be a book, could be TV.
throughout my lifetime, I would encourage anybody who has not given Star Trek a fair shot to. Get deep. And
Here's where someone else tries to get me into Star Trek.
listen, some things are just objectively good, and it's really just kind of that simple.
I've been rewatch a couple months back. I rewatched a few episodes of the original series.
Oh, yeah.
and
Yes.
enjoyed it much more than I remember.
Some of it's cringy, some of it's hilarious. I think with the problem with that movie, the driving movie or whatever, the one I already forgot the name of,
Gran Turismo.
Yeah, is that they're trying to make it awesome, and time will tell, right? But sometimes when you go back and watch these older movies, you don't have that expectation. You don't have it's got to be this fucking cutting edge like sci-fi thing. It, they're like Star Trek will just have a big green hand in space, and so it's like going to capture the ship. It's so stupid. But ultimately, it boils down to the human condition. Telling stories and
fair.
That's why if somebody asked me Star Trek or Star Wars, I would just say, well, are you trying to have like an ethical introspection experience, or are you trying to watch people fucking play with laser swords?
Well, and I'll tell you,
Star Wars.
No, it's okay. Dude,
being silly.
if I had a lightsaber, and
That'd be tight.
well, then I got a question for you.
Hand off on accident.
As a Star Trek fan, have you watched? And I'm only about maybe 10 episodes into the first season. I'm just getting started. Have you watched Star Trek Discovery?
Yeah, I've seen. I potentially have seen every episode of Star Trek that's ever existed.
Because as someone
Throughout my lifetime, I'm just saying, my mom at one point in time was like, "We're getting satellite or cable, or we should yelling at the cable company. We're getting satellite."
I heard the cartoon's funny.
We just never did.
What's the cartoon called?
the
Lower
new one
Decks?
is Lower Decks. Yeah.
Is that funny? I heard it was funny.
Lower Decks is hilarious.
Okay.
It's I mean, I don't know.
I know Jason Mantzoukas is in it.
I think you could probably get a lot of the throw jokes in Lower Decks if you watch like 10 episodes of Next Generation.
Okay.
So like Picard.
I have seen multiple episodes of Next Gen.
That's what I was trying to say a second ago is, we canceled like big TV like everything else. So it was just Xena Warrior Princess and Star Trek when I was like going to bed as a kid.
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yep.
God damn it, USA. You really fucked us up.
Gave us lasers and apple pies.
And WWF.
Well, and the reason I bring up Discovery is because Discovery to me feels like, and obviously it had a lot riding on it because it was kind of the bringing Star Trek back to television.
Sure.
But it feels like it has some of the high-minded sci-fi ideas of some of the classic series while still having enough pew-pew to kind of satiate me as an action guy.
You know what's funny is for a long time, like, obviously, if you would ask me Star Wars, Star Trek, I would have said Star Wars.
Yeah.
But now I'm almost to the point where if you ask me Star Trek or Star Wars, I'm like, neither.
That's not a bad spot to be.
Yeah.
Although I will say so, and that's because the progression of Star Wars, I have just progressively given less and less of a shit to where I'm like, I couldn't care less
That's
about the
100%
new.
where I'm at with Star Wars.
I couldn't care less about the new things, except I will say that the Jedi Fallen Order game was the one Star Wars thing in the last while that I got super into because that game kicked ass. I was super fucking pissed that the new one wasn't coming out on PS4 because my old ass doesn't have PS5 money.
I would like more Luke Skywalker content if I was gonna that's sort of like
More
all
Luke.
that's all I really care
give me
about.
more Luke.
Yeah, I grew up watching it, but there's like characters and and the Mandalorian was pretty cool.
Couldn't get into it.
It was actually I noticed a lot of influence from the Dark Tower series, which we were talking about earlier. Like the Man in Black fled across the desert, Gunslinger followed, sort of like faceless hero kind of thing. It was okay, but yeah, I'm a big Trekkie. And then I'm gonna say a music pick of the week.
Oh, please.
Let's see here. I've only recently discovered Dead Poet Society. They have a song called "Period Into Deep." Man, I heard that through the algorithm the other day, and I was like, in complete arrogance, I was like, damn, that's like something I would write. But it was like something like it hit home for me
I
hard.
get
I was
that.
like, shit, I wish I wrote that.
I hear that. I feel that so many times when I'm listening to music.
Yeah, vocal delivery, the one note riff with the octave pedal, that kind of stuff. So that's been my jam this week, and then.
It's dumb because I know I don't have the capability of actually making it, but when I hear "Run the Jewels," I'm like, this is how I would make hip hop.
Sure, no, Run the Jewels.
This is
amazing.
my perfect idea of hip hop. All right, Hilton, what do you got?
For plugs, got to talk about the Starlight Comedy Night. Always a fun one. That is the second Friday of every month. Laura Cook and I bringing you some of the best comedians from all over the state and all over the region. We got a wild one coming up on May 12th.
A lot of questions circulating around.
Oh, I can't wait.
There's the buzz around this upcoming show is palpable.
Super excited to bring Drew Robinson and Zebediah No Fire to the Starlight stage for the first time. Both of these young comics have been up-and-comers that have been getting lots and lots of great reactions. But the questions are about the headliners. Those Party Boys.
Now, hold on a minute, because I
Hold it
also
on.
had questions about Zebediah No Fire.
Oh, yeah, you don't know Zebediah? He's
no,
doing real well.
I don't, but that sounds like
It sounds like a bit of a stage name.
absolutely.
I
it does.
can't say for sure, but I'm erring on the side of I am just a random dude who doesn't know all names.
I'm scared of
Also, the photo I used of him, he is decked out in bling. So
Okay.
he just looks like an icon of some sort.
Okay.
So I don't know, but I've been getting questions about again, quote, those Party Boys.
Yeah, I also have questions about those Party Boys. Who are those Party Boys?
I don't know, but they look like a pair of unhelmeted Daft Punks.
Okay.
And I hear they are hilarious. So
Okay.
I
You
can't.
hear they are hilarious. How did they come into your orbit?
I don't. You think I booked this show?
You didn't book this one. This is
I'm
all
kidding.
Laura.
I'm kidding.
Oh,
Laura and
okay.
I do it together, but sometimes one of us brings a comic to the conversation that the other one may not be familiar with. And in this case, Laura is introducing me to those Party Boys. So I'm super excited about this one. So May 12th at the Starlight, come and hang out with us.
All right.
And I got 2 picks this week as well. Going to do music and comics this week. Music, I've been reminded of a trip hop band that I got into forever and ever ago that I adore, who I never hear much about. But in researching this, I may have even discovered another album. But The Controls are my pick of the week. Check out The Controls, their first album, 100, from back in the year of our Lord, probably 1995, maybe. So it's
The year of our Lord, 1995.
the year of our Lord, 1995, when Jesus was only 2027 years old, 28 years old. The Controls are great. And if you like bands in the style of Portishead or Lamb,
I do like Portishead.
They will be up your alley. If I got to pick a song, I'm going to choose, Coward of the Year is a fun one.
All right.
And then a comic book, new comic from DC Comics. DC Comics is doing a bunch of number ones right now as they kick off their Dawn of DC initiative. So reboots on several series. And they have a new series for Shazam. Shazam now going by a new moniker.
Wait, Shazam, the thing where that tells you what song is playing?
Shazam is the one where you say,
What song
is this? And you hold the phone up towards the speaker, and it accidentally hears your friends talking, and it says, cannot identify song. And it's
Heard.
very disappointing.
Tight.
But Shazam is also the classic Captain Marvel, the hero originally purchased by DC from Fawcett Comics, and later, of course, caught up in lots of legal woes as
Marvel Comics.
As Marvel Comics has their own Captain Marvel, which only came later in an attempt to steal that trademark.
Oh.
DC later trying to just call the character Shazam based on the magic word he uses to change from his childlike form of Billy Batson to the hero Captain Marvel. But then, of course, there comes the unique thing where if saying that word aloud is what changes him, how does he say his name to anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So now they're going to call him, at least for now, the Captain. Yeah, that's a lot of people's reaction.
All right, yeah.
That's corny.
Captain, bro.
But as much as the Captain may or may not be the right name for it, Mark Waid is the writer and is a great choice. I actually read this number one this morning. And Mark Waid and Dan Mora are on the script. Alejandro Sanchez is on art with Troy Pidieri on colors, and Pieteri, excuse me. And it's great. It is a really good book. It starts off with the Captain on a very silly, weird sci-fi based adventure, which very much was the classic Fawcett way, where they do something that is just bold and wild and imaginative. And I'm not even going to get into the specifics on purpose because I think it's worth picking up the issue to see what this weird little problem he has to solve is.
All right.
I'll tell you off mic because I know you're not a comic guy, but it's worth checking out. Mark Waid is a deft storyteller who has been just killing it at DC with his World's Finest, Batman and Superman, and then recently on Batman versus Robin, which set up the Lazarus Planet event. You can hear me getting deeper into all this over on my podcast, OK Geek, of course.
Fair enough.
Which does have new episodes again. And but if you need a new book to pick up, I only grabbed it. I'm not a Shazam guy, but I only grabbed it because I happened to see on Twitter that Gail Simone mentioned that it was worth getting. Gail Simone, another big comic writer. And I was like, you know what? If Gail's pushing it that hard, I'm going to check it out.
Gail likes it.
If Gail likes it, I think it's worth checking out. It
Love
was
you, Gail.
100% worth it. So Shazam #1, definitely worth picking up. Honestly, anything with Mark Waid's name on it. His Daredevil run at Marvel, his Fantastic Four run at Marvel. He is one of the greats.
Gotcha.
What do you got?
Real quick, just going back to the show for Groucho, May 20th, Thelma's Peach with Helen Kelter Skelter.
Yeah, have you ever heard them before?
I have, but it's been a long time, and I can't even remember what they sound like. They've been around for a minute, though.
They might be my favorite Oklahoma band.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is like psychedelic, kind of like, sort of. It's psychedelic Queens of the Stone Age, and the vocals are like real washed out.
Yeah.
You can't not like it. I mean,
hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sometimes like again, some of those things are just good.
Is that a 8 o'clock show?
I think we say 7. There might be another band on, but yeah, generally,
Doors at 7. Doors at 6 or 7.
Have you ever been to Thelma's before?
No.
I hear such great things about that venue.
It's such a really strange thing. Yeah, it's like a room, but it's
like pink eye style.
It's an adult pink eye.
All right, heard.
But in a good way, there's like a little. It's kind of cozy in a strange place.
That's what I
they
hear.
have like art shows and stuff. So I mean, in my opinion, like the last show we just played, you get a couple people, 100 people in a room, and we threw a projector up and kind of did it, lasers and stuff, and that's cool.
Nice.
But then the other side of that, if you want to play in Tulsa all the time, I think, as an original band,
Yeah.
Play the smaller rooms and invite your friends and get 50 people, 60 people together and let them have a ball, So it's a cool room. You guys should come out to that show. I'd be happy to put you on the list.
I'd like to, but that's actually the night of my wife's 40th birthday party.
It means nothing to me.
I know it does. I know it does, and that is okay. But I have to be there.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I would be in a lot of trouble.
We play once a month. You come see with the Smile Empty Soul gig, man.
Oh, hell
That's
yeah.
the one at the Vanguard in June, right?
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the last
let's do
time I
that.
saw you guys live was at the R.R. Williams show, I believe, right?
Oh yeah. We played.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I'm playing keyboard for them right now.
Are you really?
Yeah,
Nice.
Mike and I had never.
He really switched up the style.
He switched it up like a couple times. Actually.
Yeah, I know. I've heard the trajectory.
I think it's cool. I've actually just said it's nice you can do it like chill or kill.
Mm-hmm.
We could play like kind of punk or like. And I love playing keyboards, man. It's just like my whole objective playing keyboards is like nobody should notice the fucking thing I'm doing unless I stop playing.
Fair
You know
enough.
what I mean? Just just I'll add some texture and stuff. It's
Love it.
fun. It's a nice roll. I like it.
As far as plugs, listen to me and TJ Clark ranting about politics on Maximum News. Pew, pew, pew. And no other plugs for me right now. But picks, I have been going back through some of the old Danny McBride series on HBO.
Cool.
Vice Principals, I rewatched in its entirety, both seasons.
Is that good? I didn't love the first episode, and I
Yeah.
never tried it after that.
It's good.
So
Yeah.
here's a good story. Okay, so Becky told me that she first tried to watch it by herself.
Yeah.
And then she watched it again with me. And that she had so much fun watching it with me because of the way I described it to her that it made her like it. And if you can go into it saying this is grown-ups in grown-up situations, but everybody has the maturity level and dialogue of a 14-year-old.
And they're diabolical.
Yeah, and most of them are very terrible.
Okay.
And it's unbelievably hilarious. Vice Principals, obviously, like Walton Goggins is the standout of this entire show. He plays Lee Russell. Walton Goggins, if you don't know him, he's one of those people where you hear the name and you go, who the fuck is that? And then the second you see his face, you're like, oh, he's been in everything I've ever seen ever. And he's just one of those guys. But yeah, Vice Principals, only 2 seasons, super easy to watch. It's all on HBO. And then The Righteous Gemstones, which is the one that they've done right after that. It's just so goddamn funny. It's one of those things where you don't have to take it too seriously. It's obviously very goofy since it's super, super immature. But yeah, the dialogue is just so fucking dumb and hilarious. I love it. I just absolutely adore it. It's great. Yeah. Great to just smoke and zone out to, for sure.
I grew up in church stuff, so it's like
Oh,
hilarious
man.
for me, yeah.
Yeah, I grew up as a Catholic, and then was like, "Ooh, this is weird. I don't like it here." And then was like, "But I need to find God because all my friends like God." And then went to like more of that style of church briefly, and was like, "Nope, gotta go."
Yeah, it's so I'm like hopelessly self-aware in those situations. Where
I'm like, "Gotta run."
yeah,
It's scary here. Anyway, no, that's it for me. That's it for you, Dustin. Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thanks.
It's good to
This was a lot
see
of
you
fun,
as
man.
always. And don't forget, check out Groucho on all the streaming platforms. Go see him live at Thelma's Peach. And then check them out for dates at the Vanguard in June.
Yeah.
And stream all the music and buy all the music. Go to Bandcamp, Linktree.
yeah.
And just search Groucho, as in Groucho the Marx.
Pretty much, yeah. Groucho band. I
love
can't
it.
crack the Google SEO thing yet.
It's tough.
It's hard to beat that Groucho dude.
That one guy, he took that fucking
Really
name.
cornered
fucking
it.
owns
you know?
or something.
Really
Yeah.
cornered it.
Really?
It's like,
That makes me sick.
but yeah, thanks again. And as for you,
We love them.
as for you, dear listener,
Tell them we love them.
I love you. Wait, we?
that.
We love. I was trying to do
No.
the in the world thing.
I take it back.
In a world where Hilton Price is capable of human love.
That voice doesn't say it.
I was just learning to love.
Take it from me. I love you.